is a question on everyone's mind. Yes, you can pet a San.
Game of the year already. Pack it up. There's no reason to really even debate it anymore. We can pet a San, the baby griffin, therefore it wins. Yo, what's good? It's Miss Dora. And today, y'all, we got some more Dragon Age The Veilguard gameplay. Yes, we got 22 minutes of brand new gameplay footage courtesy of IGN. So you already know I'm going to be taking a look at it and, of course, giving y'all my first initial reaction as well as my overall thoughts and impressions on everything in this preview. Now, with that being said, I haven't seen this video yet, but I have seen a few people talking about it here and there on Twitter. Thankfully, I've been able to avoid any spoilers. But I did see some people mention that this gameplay features a mage as the player character. So, of course, I'm mad excited, right? Mage is my go-to and favorite for Dragon Age games, as well as pretty much every RPG. So I've been waiting for a hot minute to see some more in-depth and hopefully high-level Mage gameplay to get a good long look at, right? I'm hoping this character has a specialization. Hoping it's Spellblade so I can get a look at that too. I want to see some Spellblade gameplay, but if not, if they got any specialization, that's cool too. And just in general, I'm grateful that we're finally getting to look at just the mage in general. So without further ado, let's just hop into this thing. Let's take a look. Let's see what's let's see what BioWare is cooking up. Make sure all their corn and stuff is good. Everything's good there. All right. Make sure this is good.
What's up, everybody? I'm Kat Bailey, and this is our extended look at Dragon Age The Veilguard's gameplay. I'm here with BioWare lead developers Corinne Bush and John Epler. Corinne, what are we looking at today?
Let's see.
Hey, y'all. So today...
Okay, so it seems like this preview is going to be in the form of like a commentary. There's going to be a lot of commentary over it. So with that being said, instead of me just letting the video play continuously and giving my reactions and thoughts and opinions on everything as it just plays continuously, if I do that, there's going to be a lot of me talking over, a lot of voices going at the same time. It might be a little difficult to pick up or difficult for me to get my thoughts in. So I guess I'll be pausing at certain points to give my opinions and thoughts and impressions and stuff on certain things if I feel like it's necessary. So it won't be one continuous thing. Let's get back into it.
We're going to be helping out one of our companions, Davrin. This is part of his personal arc to rescue the griffins long thought extinct. We're going to take a quick journey.
Let me see, hold on.
Rescue out one of our companions, Davrin. This is part of his personal arc to rescue.
Okay. So I thought, this might not be, when they said rescue the griffins, this might not be the mission that we do that, actually full on rescue them. This might just be one of the missions in that quest sequence. So
the griffins long
are we in the lighthouse?
Extinct.
I'm imagining so.
We're going to take a quick journey through the lighthouse, your base of operations. We're going to head
I want to see more of the lighthouse. Come on, show me the whole shebang.
Way to the dark swamps of Hosberg.
This library area looks dope though. The books floating on. That's very fade, like just the kind of the books floating around.
To the dark swamps of Hosberg wetlands.
So you're in the lighthouse, as Corinne mentioned. This is your base of operations that you inherited.
Show me the whole thing. Come on now.
Unwillingly from Solus. It is located in the...
That's a bad whistle, but I'm digging that Fenrirel statue. That Fenrirel statue is dope, and in general,
where Solus...
The look of the lighthouse is really good. I'm wondering if our choices in either character creation or just throughout the game, I'm imagining that's the case, are going to affect how this lighthouse ends up looking, because obviously it's a fade. And speaking on that, I love the choice. Such a great choice to make our hub, our base of operations in this game, because there is one in every Dragon Age game. But I love the decision to make our base of operations this time inside of the Fade, because the Fade is such a quintessential piece of Dragon Age. It's something that's so fascinating about the world and lore and setting just of the world of Dragon Age. And the idea to put our hub there this time, great choice, by the way. There are some choices about this game I've disagreed with them making, but this is one of their better ones.
Was able to start planning his rebellion against the Elven gods.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go back too much.
From Solus, it is located in the Fade. It's where Solus was able to start planning his rebellion against the Elven gods millennia ago. Right now.
Oh, so this place is mad significant to Solus. This is the place where basically he came into being as Fenrirel, where he started his activities of rebellion. That's cool.
Have occupied it, started to build it, started to shape itself around your personality. As Corinne mentioned, we are going to go talk to Davrin, who is located up above. And each of these spaces kind of shapes itself around your companions as you as they live there, as they basically spend their arcs in those rooms.
And we see here the glowing light above indicates Davrin's ready for us. Let's check in with him.
Wait, what?
And we see here the glowing light above indicates Davrin's ready for us. Let's check in with him.
Oh, I like that. I actually like that a lot. I know some people may not, but I like that there's an in-game element, and it's not like just a UI element like on a map or something like that. There's an actual, make sure that's okay, in-game element like that kind of blends in with the world, that shows you when a companion has something important to talk about. It doesn't mean that you can't just go in and talk to them about anything. I'm assuming like you can just kind of, you know, chit chat with them, but that light will reflect when they have something new or important to share. I like that because in pretty much I've played all the Dragon Age games recently, and pretty much all of them, you have a routine of when you get to your base of operations, you go around and talk to everyone. You do a big old circle, talk to all your companions, and see if anyone has anything new to say. You just do kind of laps around. So this kind of alleviates that, and I think it's a good choice personally. Some people may not like it, but I do. Oh, Son, you're so cute. That baby griffin is adorable.
Got a message. Place called the Cauldron was attacked.
That's some sort of Grey Warden tavern.
It's a secret warden act.
That's some sort of Grey Warden tavern.
That don't look quite right. Is bro cross? I mean, if you made your character in character creation to be cross-eyed, that's fine.
That's some sort of Grey Warden tavern.
Yeah, that animation doesn't look quite right. Hopefully Davrin doesn't look so bad.
Secret warden readout. No idea what goes on there.
Then why are you involved?
Because whatever
I'm not big on this Qunari player character appearance in general.
Goes on there.
It's kind of way too smooth for me. I like the kind of hardened appearances of Qunari. Hopefully, you can still make a Qunari that's reminiscent of like the Inquisition style, or even DA2 or DA Origin style of Qunari. Not Origins, but yeah, 2 and Inquisition style, where they kind of have more of a hardened appearance, kind of scaly and more rocky looking, I guess to say, for lack of a better word. I'm hoping that this is just a choice that this specific person made in character creation, in that you can make this style of Qunari if you want to, but that you can also make a Qunari that looks a bit more like how they did in Inquisition and 2. I'm hoping that's the case, and that not all Qunari look like this. If that's the case, it'll be unfortunate. Thankfully for me, Qunari aren't like a favorite race of mine, but hoping that's not the case. I'm not a huge fan.
Because whatever attacked, it sounds like the Gloomhowler.
The hell is a Gloomhowler?
So earlier in Davrin's arc, you were introduced to his nemesis, the Gloomhowler,
Nemesis
creature that's been hunting and stalking wardens for quite some time. It's kidnapped a bunch of other griffins. Davrin has been trying to track it down. Now he's got a lead, so we're...
Oh, snap. Probably should have mentioned there's probably going to be spoilers in this, because Bioware loves to put spoilers in their pre-release material. But that's part of the course for some of these RPGs anyway. But all right.
We're going to go find this.
The nemesis of Davrin, and something that's been kidnapped by some Grey Wardens, as well as, or getting rid of Grey Wardens, as well as kidnapping
track
griffins.
This thing down.
Now, Davrin, he prefers the direct approach. We're going to choose a tough response and see if we can get his approval.
Then let's get rid of it.
Had the same thought. What's left of the wardens are still licking their wounds. So we handle this alone. Just go to the Cauldron and get the griffins back.
The animations on Davrin don't look so bad, and our player character just said they didn't look great, but his don't look so bad.
Griffins back.
Oh, son. He looks adorable.
Promise to behave, boy. Listen to every word I say, stay out of trouble, don't do anything dumb, and don't eat any.
I think we get the point.
Oh, that didn't look bad. Okay. So they are capable of having good animation for the player character.
Don't eat any.
I think we get the point.
Yeah, he didn't look bad there. Can it just all animation for the player character?
Told me there's a word for the bond between a griffin and warden.
Let me get my drink. Hold on.
One. Turlum. Until Hassan and I have that, I'm supposed to keep him safe.
I have to say that I find the
I would
griffin
do anything
adorable.
for that griffin. I would
And
do
very
anything for him.
importantly, I know this is a question on everyone's mind. Yes, you can pet Asan.
Game of the year already. Pack it up. There's no reason to really even debate it anymore. We can pet Asan, the baby griffin, therefore it wins. There's no reason to debate it any further or nothing like that. This is guaranteed game of the year.
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
for that. And all right, what are we going to be
It
doing
is going to give
next?
it major points.
He's up for this.
All right, we're going to finish getting this information.
Look at him. Look at how excited he is.
And we'll be off to Hossberg and the Crossroads.
Between Warden and Griffin starts by having faith
He
in
looks
each
so
other.
excited. He's so cute.
Maybe. I suppose you were born for this sort of fight, boy. All talons and temper.
Oh, he has a temper? That's kind of
A
cute.
sharp tongue to remind you of it.
As long as he backs it up.
So good looking animation is possible
So
in
I
this game
assume
for a
that
player
Asan can
character.
be helpful
Hopefully this
in
is
the
something they
gameplay.
iron out.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a lot of Davrin's abilities revolve around calling a Son in the heat of battle.
We got to see some of that in the warrior gameplay.
I love when you're going against enemies, you see a Son swoop down, especially if it triggers a combo between your companions.
Are we going to get to see some of Solus in this too? Because that statue makes you want to see more of him.
You see the lights on in a room. Companions have something to say. You can see Harding up in that space there.
Okay, that's where Harding is on.
Nev behind you as well, and Belara. But we have a mission ahead of us.
Damn, I wanted to see more of them too.
If we can, and we're going to go through the crossroads.
I wanted to see more of
crossroads.
I wanted to see more of Belara.
Previous Dragon Age. We're going to go through the crossroads in order to do that. And the
crossroads, yes.
If you played previous Dragon Age games, Trespasser in particular, is a location in the Fade that contains a number of alluvians, allowing you to travel across Thedas in a matter of minutes. But
that's a big
at this
alluvian,
point,
dude.
The crossroads are under
that is a huge
by
alluvian.
The other elven gods. It's a dangerous place, and we are going to be in for a bit of a fight.
Oh, so the crossroads aren't. If I remember in the previous games, like you didn't encounter anything hostile in the crossroads. So
dangerous place, and we are going to be in for a bit of a fight.
They're dangerous because of the elven gods. Right?
The Beer of Voss is the central focus point of the lighthouse. This is going to take us to Solus's pocket area of the crossroads, and it might look a little bit different from what you've seen in Trespasser.
All right, let's see.
Can you tell us a little bit about?
Oh, hold on.
A little bit different from what you've seen in Trespasser.
Okay. Okay. The UI isn't bad. That's just one quick thing I want to say. The UI, there are certain parts where I wasn't the biggest fan of the UI, but this right here, you're kind of travel UI.
Can you tell us a little bit about the role that the crossroads plays in the structure and the gameplay?
Spare no details.
Yeah, so the crossroads is, again, it's the area that you spend a lot of time traveling through as you go from area.
When we go to the crossroads, we're already in our combat gear.
It's also a space that has, at one point, served as Solus's main base of operations and training ground for his rebellion against the elven gods. So as you go through it, you're going to find fragments of the past, the things that Solus had.
Delirium dagger. Oh, the one that Solus gave us. Okay. I want to rehear that part. But one thing, side note, sidebar. Okay. Something I love in RPGs that I'm a sucker for. I know it doesn't always make sense, but I loved it about Origins. I love even when you have a weapon sheathed. If it's an enchanted weapon, for example, a flaming sword, I love when that thing is glowing or like flaming while it's on your back. I love when that's a thing in these games. I know it's not the most realistic. I don't care. I loved it in Origins. And judging by the staff, that might be the case here. So I hope that is a thing for this game.
As you go through it, you're going to find fragments of the past, the things that Solus had done previously that are going to give you a bit of insight into Solus as a character, but also into the elven gods and their motivations.
Oh, hell yeah. We're going to get to see more of Solus's past by traveling through this place? Oh, I'm down.
The elven gods and their motivations.
Okay, I'm about it.
Favorite content that you'll find if you go exploring in the crossroads is these opportunities to actually relive some of the memories Solus had during his rebellion.
His memories.
You get to take part in this ancient rebellion.
So I know we had places that some of the interviews and whatnot reveal in Q&As revealed that there's going to be explorable areas throughout this game. The crossroads is going to be one of them, and through exploring it,
a mysterious spirit that was
the character. This guy looks cool, but through exploring the crossroads, we'll get peeks of Solus's memories. That's really cool. Let me move this over
before
here.
Solus was, and started to help Solus with his rebellion, but also to turn this into a safe haven for spirits. Again, as I mentioned before, the gods are assaulting the crossroads, so it's no longer the safe haven it once was. But you're going to work with this character.
It's dangerous here now because the elven gods are assaulting it. Okay.
Ancillary content to rebuild this into that safe home for these creatures. That if anyone knows
but we
Solus,
can make it safe
he has
again.
A tremendous amount of affection for spirits.
I remember that about him. He's really infatuated with spirits.
Now we're going to get into combat.
Here. Yes. Let me see it.
We're playing as a mage.
Okay,
is one of my
a little bit slower, more methodical gameplay.
Ranged attacker, and when we're surrounded by swarming darkspawn,
a bit slower. I hope not everything is as slow with the mage. Let me see some speed.
Charged attacks.
Damn. Okay, I want to see that again.
Control the battle.
Okay, that's that.
I'm gonna use my heavy charge.
So when this character does, oh yeah, they say it's a heavy attack. So okay, it's a heavy attack, and that bar at the bottom with the little sun in it. All the charges disappeared when they used it. So something that people said about the warrior gameplay when I was kind of going over it, they were saying, oh, some of the enemies seem kind of spongy, like health spongy, right? Like they have a lot of health and it takes a bunch of hits to kill them. I suspected that might be because that it might be because, well, that is a warrior with a shield and sword and shield combo, and that weapon combination might have less damage but more defense. So with the mage, we see
to use a variety of strategies to control the battlefield.
That this mage, yeah, that enemy right there is dang near that kind of trash enemy, like lower level enemy, not lower level, but like, you know, one of the rank and file enemies essentially, was almost at full health, and that charge attack one-shot him. So there seems to be some truth to my intuition on that.
Charged attacks to knock down these ghouls, get them out of the way, and of course, Darkspawn are vulnerable to fire.
Okay.
So we made sure to equip our fire staff.
Oh, okay. So when we hover over an enemy, we're going to get to see their resistances or vulnerabilities. I personally would like to find that out on my own. I'm wondering if there's going to be a way to disable that. I would like to find out by myself what enemy is resistant or vulnerable to, and then at the same time try to keep that in memory for future fights. So I wonder if that's something we could turn off. Hopefully,
though. Something about the Darkspawn too, that they look a little bit different than they have previously.
I like a lot of the changes they made, but I don't think they need to hold our hand that much.
Obviously, you may notice something about the Darkspawn too, that they look a little bit different than they have previously, and part of that is because Gillenane, who has always been focused on using the Blight as essentially a crafting material, a way to alter life itself, has been enhancing and changing these Darkspawn as part of her army.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, so we all knew, that the Darkspawn character, the enemy designs changed. I, for one, think they look great. I think the new Darkspawn look good, but I did miss, I guess you could say they're more, for lack of a better word, because there's multiple races of Darkspawn. There are some Darkspawn that used to be Qunari, Elf, Dwarf, whatever. But I, for one, kind of miss some of their humanoid appearances. In particular, I liked that the Hurlocks used to wear armor. A lot of them, actually. Genlocks, Hurlocks used to wear armor to kind of indicate that, yes, these Darkspawn used to be us. They used to be the living races of Thedas. I liked that aspect of them. And I don't mind when games change the designs of enemies and whatnot for sequels or whatever. But I'm glad that they explained it and that there's a lore reasoning. It's because Gillenane, can't remember. Yeah, I remember in To Winter Nights, there's a story like she really plays with life. She molds and shapes lives for creatures how she sees fit, and she's led to the Darkspawn, hence their design change.
Corinne, I noticed that
even if there's aspects of their designs I'm not the favorite about. Like I said, I like the designs, but I miss certain elements of their old designs. At least it's explained, right?
Combo opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the role that plays in the actual combat?
Yes. So the combat system in this game, the deep strategy behind it is really to manage the various abilities your companions and Rook have in concert.
So Mass Effect, just like Mass Effect. I mean, like other Dragon Age games, but
with Shred, it's going to apply the sundered effect and deal a high amount of stagger.
We've seen this a little bit already.
Combo that with Rook's ability Spirit Bomb. That's going to cause
Goku Spirit Bomb. No, I'm kidding. One thing I noticed before they do that, each of these spells essentially has two little circles near them. I'm going to assume that's like your resource. I'm just going to say mana, for lack of a better term. So each of those mana charges, I see some of those same charges down at the bottom. I hope you can build them pretty fast because I want to be slinging spells all over the place. It looks like each spell consumes a certain number of those mana charges, essentially.
I can combo that with.
Let's see the Spirit Bomb. Let's see if Goku's going to be proud or not. Let's see.
Detonation combo.
That looks cool. So, damn! That's nice and chunky. That's that impact I was talking about for Origins, okay? I like nice and chunky. A game can be strategic, tactical, even turn-based, and still have nice chunky oomph to it, okay? So I like that. I like that.
One of the things you'll notice about the terrain here is it's very snowy, very mountainous.
Damn, that's a lot of damage.
The Crossroads is a...
Oh, yeah, now that I speak about it, the damage numbers. I do think this gameplay looks better with damage numbers. I mentioned in a previous video that's a big thing for me. In the Warrior gameplay, there wasn't any damage numbers. I was a bit worried about that. It wouldn't have ruined the game for me, but having damage numbers definitely enhances the experience. And seeing the gameplay with damage numbers now, the
terrain here is it's very
definitely looks better to me.
The Crossroads
it's just something I love in my RPGs, man. I want to see my damage numbers.
In this case, it's an amalgamation of all the...
Sorry, I missed that.
Notice about the terrain here is it's very snowy, very mountainous. The Crossroads is a realm that reflects the waking world. In this case, it's an amalgamation of all the real world spaces that are tied to it. In the case, we've got Hosper, we've got other mountainous regions. So it's kind of this mix of the swamp. And as you'll see, as we move towards these alluvions,
there's so much going on. I want to analyze. Oh, that door statue in the back is dope. So yeah, it does reflect. First of all, the crossroads reflects the real world. I like that. Then that's really cool. There's so much going on here. I want to analyze the gameplay. I want to listen to their commentary, but there's party banter going on right now. So I want to read and hear the party banter. So Harding, do Templars really not have authority over mages and Tevinter? What happens if there's blood magic? What do they do?
The architecture around them very clearly reflects what's on this.
Ooh, depends on the Templar, depends on about their loyalty.
Exactly what's on their side, but you maybe.
What do you do when the authorities can't be trusted to do the right thing? Harding, sweet child, that's everywhere, darling. It's not any different over here.
Or can I just
okay, that's how I keep busy. Right, I like that answer. But so Harding, sweet summer child,
the game.
You can't trust authority anywhere. You can't even trust the Templars and Thetas. Sorry, I'm talking over them too much.
Or can I just fast travel right through?
It depends how you progress through the game. The first time you go to any of the new regions in the world, you'll traverse the crossroads to get there.
I think that's how it should be.
Times, we of course support fast travel, but it behooves you to actually go back and explore the crossroads as some of the deepest secrets lie within.
Nice. So now you're in I hope that's not something surface level. I really hope not. They're hyping up this whole crossroads and exploring and getting to all the nook and crannies and getting all the secrets. I hope that's really in depth and it's not, they didn't treat it as just a bullet to check off, right? Or like a checkbox to check off, right? I hope it does actually end up being quite in depth. I hope that exploring the crossroads even potentially reveals different secrets on subsequent playthroughs. So each playthrough won't reveal the same stuff that you go discover in the crossroads. I hope it ends up being something very detailed and thought out, not just something that seemingly didn't have too much effort put into it.
It's an area that has been almost completely consumed by the blight. So now you're in Hosberg Wetland. It's an area that has been almost completely consumed by the blight. Sweet. The Grey Wardens have set up an outpost here. Again, if you know anything about the Grey Wardens, they fight the blight anywhere they see it. And they're noticing something strange is going on here. The blight is not behaving as they expected to and as it historically has. So they've set up shop in this
we're at what, the 6th blight now? Yeah, I mean, hey, that's to be expected of the Grey Wardens. They're on their 6th blight. They know how to fight blights at this point, and they rely on that previous knowledge. So if things are changing now because we got elven gods in the mix, and yeah, we throw them off.
Here to work with them, help them out, and help them find an answer to the questions about the blight that they're asking.
Let's see.
Tell me a little bit more about this area. It looks a little bit like a hub where you can get a lot of quests and things like that.
That's right. So here
we
find one of the bases of the Grey Wardens. So you'll see they've really built up...
Hold on. What do we got? Hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. 1 second. Okay, so of course, my internet company decided to do maintenance as I'm recording this video. Of course, right? I'm using my phone hotspot. Let's see if it holds up. But one thing I was going to say... based on what they're saying, I saw a merchant and stuff like that. It seems like, and it makes sense that each faction is going to have their own hub with stuff you can buy and interact with.
What's more, the Grey Wardens are a faction we're going to be working with throughout the game. We've got Holden,
dang, camera,
one
get
of
it together.
The Grey Warden quartermasters.
Bye.
We're actually going to upgrade his shop
and
see what items he has.
That seems to be some DNA left over from the live servicing.
For us. See if maybe
upgrading the merchant shop itself.
That's an edge shop. One of the Grey Warden quartermasters.
You good, bro? Bro does not look all right. The animation is rough on that merchant. He does not look all right either.
We've got Holden, one of the Grey Warden quartermasters. We're actually going to upgrade his shop and see what items he has in store for us. See if maybe it gives us an edge in combat.
Okay.
And the Grey War is much like the other factions.
So we got arrows pointing up if something is better equipment. Again, some of this stuff seems to be left over from the live service elements, but overall, it looks standard. You know, you have your shop with your categories, just like in Origins, right? See, it looks pretty standard.
They're holding off the dark spine here. They have other priorities, so getting them more powerful allows them to more.
Oh, and I just realized from that last gameplay, it doesn't look like this mage is a spellblade.
Contribute.
Looks like they might be a death
against the elven gods.
Spellblade, a Voker, and I think Deathcaller, Necromancer, something like that.
So we're heading out of
they're probably that Necromancer one, just by some of
the small town of Lavendel.
Necromancy stuff.
Now, this used to be a beautiful place full of life, flowers, and you can see what effect the blight has had.
Until the shadow curse got it.
Damn. Here, they're trying to
Shadowheart.
most of their lives, and you can see there's plenty of opportunities to help them. In fact, we're going to quickly check in with Finn the physician and see what he has in store for us.
So Flynn, again, one of the focuses of this game is characters, not causes.
This side characters' animations don't look as bad. Granted, they don't look great. I'm assuming the animations for the companions and the main characters, that's going to be what looks the best. But this one doesn't look as bad as the other one.
One of the focuses of this game is characters, not causes.
Okay.
I've been busy with patients, but I'm short on medical supplies. My mentor, Oscar, he should have some. He has a cabin outside the village. If you're out there, tell him you saw Flynn, and they could use his help.
And Flynn...
Let me say it again.
My mentor, Oscar, he should... I've been busy with patients, but I'm short on medical supplies. My mentor, Oscar, he should have some. He has a cabin outside the village. If you're out there, tell him you saw Flynn, and they could use his help.
And Flynn is a warden who you will do quests with. We wanted to make sure that the side content of Dragon Age: The Veilguard felt as meaningful and tied to the overall conflict of the game as anything else you do. We don't want you to just go off and do random tasks. Everything needs to feel meaningful, either contributing...
But on that, BioWare, I see what you're trying to say. I get you. Makes sense, right? I have a counter to that. I've seen this before. They want you to care for a character that's like a doctor. So, I'm trying to help my patients. Go get me supplies. I get that, right? And yes, you do want to care about the side quests you have going on. But that completely depends. The story and meaning behind a side quest can be great, valiant, and something that you would want to aspire to, something that would genuinely you want to help that person. But it doesn't make it fun or interesting if the task they have you do as part of that quest are not interesting. It doesn't matter if the motivation behind a quest is something that you actually end up caring about or really care about or really want to help solve and do, right? If it's just, oh yeah, I'm the physician. Go slaughter 6 gray wolves so I can get their pelts and use it as, binding material for procedures. Like, if it's fetch quest type stuff, people aren't going to care regardless of how you write the quest if it's just fetch quest stuff. Now, granted, fetch questy things are typical of RPGs, are typical of this genre. They're going to be in here. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. But as long as it's few and far between or just not overused, it's fine. But don't think that just because you write the story aspect of a side quest to be something that we should care about, that we're going to, if the task in that side quest are mundane and overall just trivial and something we really don't care about. So hopefully the taskings and the things they have us doing as part of these quests matches the hopefully kind of good writing and motivations behind them.
Your fight against the gods, or contributing to the growth of your companions and the factions that you...
I will say in the past, I've done plenty of quests for companions and side quests that I've genuinely cared about and wanted to do, even if the things that you were doing in those quests weren't that fun, innovative, or great, because I care mostly about the characters and the motivations. I've done that in the past, but it would be nice
if
those tasks were reflected that.
We're not sure where some of our wardens are, Beckett and a few others. We're supposed to check in. We need to look out for each other more than ever. It's just...
Yeah, this character's animations don't look that bad either.
Hard, and I hope they're okay.
I wanted to see a little bit more emotion in the eyes, but that doesn't look as bad compared to some of the other stuff. Not at all.
A couple of quests in Lavendel, but we're here to help Davrin. So we're going to make our way through the perils of Hossberg.
Okay. Not going to see too much side quests.
Warden Fortress of the Cauldron.
Dang, sorry. There's Darkspawn and enemies this close to the encampment. Yo, that's crazy. That's actually crazy.
Kind of organic matter. I suppose that's the blight.
Y'all are in the thick
Absolutely.
of it.
So the blight
y'all are in these rough woods right now.
Understand it's changed. It's become a lot more organic.
The blight has changed?
Kind of organic matter. I suppose that's the blight.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So the blight at this point, as mentioned before, the wardens understand it's changed. It's become a lot more organic, a lot more alive. You're back in Dragon Age 2, Inquisition, Origins. The blight, while it was a slow-moving wall, it didn't have this almost sentience, this almost thought behind it. And obviously we've talked about how the gods that are out are blighted. That probably has something to do with it. And
the gods themselves are blighted? I mean, yeah.
This area far more dangerous than it would have been before.
Okay, interesting.
And you might notice as we get into combat with some of these
more combat, sweet,
that they do look a little bit different than before.
Did we see an ogre before? I don't know. Did we see an ogre? Is this our first look at an ogre? Hell yeah, I love ogres.
Very intentional. That they do look a little bit different than before, and that's very intentional.
Y'all already mentioned that.
The god of monsters, she uses blight like a medium to sculpt and warp the darkspawn to do her bidding to suit her purposes.
So right now you'll see a couple of Hurlocks, one with some pretty disgusting.
Oh, hold on, what is this?
Again, the idea that
what is that our ulti? Is that our ultimate?
Disgusting growth.
That is sick. Yeah, this is definitely like a grave caller. What a death caller, whatever it is, necromancer. This is definitely that.
And
this looks sick
one
though.
With some pretty disgusting growth on its back. Again, the idea that the Darkspawn and the Blight is an organic weapon. They're not
nice, and you're invulnerable during this. That is really cool. Oh, I like that. That is dope.
Swords,
it's like an install.
They're using the Blight to augment themselves so they can more effectively defeat you and also give the gods the world that they desire.
Okay, so the Darkspawn are leaning even more into the Blight themselves with how they fight and stuff like that in this.
All right, now I'm actually going to switch to my Orb and Dagger on
yes,
the Mage. And those of you that were fans of the Knight Enchanter in Dragon Age Inquisition, you might feel right at home with this.
I'm hoping, because now that we know this is the Deathcaller specialization, I'm hoping, I mean, if that's not the case, I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly cool with Dagger and Orb. I hope the Spellblade, though, gets access to other weapons, like for the Warrior and Rogue. Really hope that's the case. I really hope so, because I love using swords as a mage, like full-on swords. But Dagger and Orb I'll be cool with as well. And I hope this isn't as much of an issue for our gameplay. The person frankly doing the gameplay right now doesn't seem the best. I'm not trying to be rude. Maybe they got the demo dropped onto them. It's like, hey, play it, you know, like just play it, and didn't get much time with the game to get used to it. But I hope it's just because they're not as experienced with this game. The camera seems to get in the way a lot. I'm imagining that a more well-versed player, this might not be an issue. They're able to navigate the camera better. But
this is a more melee-focused, more agile version of the Mage.
Oh, the Dagger and Orb looks sick.
Use this elemental orb.
Oh, and the orb kind of, that's what I'm talking about, the camera. The orb just follows you around. That is really cool.
And unleash them with your dagger to detonate
That is really dope. Yo, you need to heal, bro.
So, again.
Okay, that spell.
Detonate them.
That spell, I've seen it a few times. I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, it's all right spell. It's just not something that I'm crazy about.
Again, we're in, you'll notice that there are blight pools. The Darkspawn aren't just coming out of nowhere.
Okay.
The blight is spawning them. Again, part of Gilneain's attempt to turn this into an army for the gods is to use these Darkspawn, not just, again, whereas you have the Venatori and the Antam, one case representing magical power, in the other case representing physical strength, the Darkspawn are representing overwhelming force.
Okay.
That was a pretty clutch heal a little earlier, by the way.
You know, we've talked at length.
Okay. Hold on. I see something.
Representing physical strength, the Darkspawn are representing overwhelming force.
That was a pretty clutch.
So this beam that they're using does seem to drain your mana points, essentially. And the damage doesn't seem that worth it. Like, I personally don't know if I'll use that all this much, because I want to be casting spells. This doesn't seem to be doing all that much damage, and it's draining your mana. I probably won't use this all that much.
You know,
maybe it charges your heavy attack, but does other stuff charge your heavy attack as well?
Asked us, where is the healing magic? Can you bring it back? And Nev in this game, happy to oblige with a kit of
I'm glad we got healing magic back. Barrier and armor were cool in Inquisition, don't get me wrong, but I missed healing magic.
Companions is each of them, their abilities, the way that they're built, they're very thematically appropriate to the character. They're very focused on.
I don't think this player is using runes that much either.
And the narrative are as closely aligned as possible. In the case of appropriate to the character, they're very focused on making sure that the gameplay and the narrative are as closely aligned as possible.
Okay.
In the case of Nev versus Vlar versus Amrik, our mages, each of them has a healing ability that is thematically appropriate to them.
I like that.
Makes sense when you know them as a character.
That's cool. So it's not just they all cast heal. I love that. It's not just, oh, they each know a healing spell. They know a healing spell that corresponds with them as a character. That's a really cool detail.
When you know them as a character.
That's a really cool
detail.
Watching
you play, I'm struck by sort of the size and the scope of this particular area. It seems like
this area looks dope.
A lot of exploration that I can be doing right here.
That was really one of our goals with these areas.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so this person just picked up some loot. It looks like they didn't loot a piece of armor specifically in the corner here. They didn't loot specifically a piece of armor. They looted a cosmetic. They looted an appearance that they can then transmog. And even though they're mage, this looks like kind of a warrior-esque armor piece. That's really cool. That's one thing I was wondering about during the whole transmog thing. So this would make it seem that even if you're a mage, you can dress yourself up as if you were maybe more roguish or maybe more warrior, like kind of wearing armor. And as someone who plans to go Spellblade, I love that. I want to kind of have like kind of more light armor type stuff, maybe medium armor-ish looking stuff at best. Like this kind of breastplate looking thing or leather armor, studded leather armor. That's what I'm going to go for my Spellblade. But I also really love that for warrior in particular, because for warrior, there are warriors and fighters, martial combatants, weapon-wise, that are proficient with weapons that aren't necessarily always wearing this clunky armor. Maybe there's those that want to be lightweight and kind of dance across the battlefield, even though they're not rogues. And I think being able to kind of equip maybe some roguish appearing armor, as opposed to maybe more traditional warrior heavy armor, is going to help you live that fantasy with your character. That's really cool. I like that.
Of course, we are a mission-based game, but we really emphasize player autonomy. You can revisit these spaces.
Using companion abilities with the Lyrium Dagger. Companions can be called upon for help via the Lyrium Dagger, even when they're not present in the party. That's something I was wondering about as well that was mentioned in the Q&A. They mentioned that your companions will have traversal abilities or puzzle-solving abilities that are unique to them. That's something that they mentioned, and I was wondering, oh, I thought it would be cool. You know, you're going to have to go back to a place you maybe already explored with a certain companion to access a certain part of the map. I thought that would be cool. It invites replayability. It invites, you know, you wanting to really go back and explore even a cranny, going back to your base, picking up new companions to go back to the area. But it looks like they're simplified it. I don't think either choice of it is wrong, because it might maybe going to be some people on subsequent playthroughs that roll their eyes. They don't want to go through each area with multiple sets of companions. Maybe they play tested it and it was like, okay, we want to allow players to use all the traversal, exploration, and puzzle solving abilities, even when a given companion isn't there.
Of secrets, puzzles, some pretty incredible bosses and treasure. And of course, as we saw earlier in Lavendel, some really narratively rich side quests.
One more time.
As we saw earlier in Lavendel, some really narratively rich side.
That's what I thought I saw. The Griffins, who were wiped out in the past, right? Because they were essentially the Grey Warden's steeds. The Grey Wardens rode them into battle. The Griffins almost died out completely, because if memory serves, they almost died out completely because they got corrupted by the Blight. Because they got sickened with the Blight in fighting and attacking Darkspawn. The Griffins themselves had the taint in them, got sick, and were dying out. Our Rook, just this blight-infested pustule, uses the dagger. Hey, Hassan, really dive head first into this blight-infested organic living pustule on the ground. You'll be fine. You won't get sick. It's not like you're one of the last Griffins or anything like that. I hope Davrin, for your sake, Hassan, I hope Davrin has good pet insurance, because you're going to need it. That's an interesting choice. We couldn't have made another companion have to clear those out. All right, whatever, I guess.
One thing that's
Hassan's just hardy, I guess.
We're going on a quest for Davrin, but Davrin is not currently in our party. That's because Davrin has gone ahead of us and is waiting for us at the Cauldron. This is, again, we want the followers, the companions, to feel like they have autonomy. And while they
love that the orb follows you,
they will go ahead and get things ready. So when you get there, you can have you talk to them, you have a conversation with them, and it feels like they're as invested in the success of their journey, their stories, as you are.
That ability is really cool. I like that. I can't imagine myself for a companion's side quest, for one of the quests that essentially belongs to them and their storyline. I can't imagine not bringing that companion with me. I've done so in the other Dragon Age games, albeit a bit begrudgingly for companions I just never use, but I still do their quest lines. But I'm assuming they kind of saw that in playtesting, so it's like, hey, even if it is their quest line, if you don't want to bring them, you don't have to, and they kind of made it to where it's kind of a companion agency thing. I think that's cool. I think that's actually really cool.
A pretty
I don't mind that at all.
Zone, is that right?
It is.
I hope you can bring them.
It's full of branching paths, different areas to explore.
Yeah, this zone does look kind of massive to explore. I like it.
The content you do in the area, the more shortcuts you're going to discover.
Just hit the Michael Jackson. Yo, he did not.
You do in the area, the more
he did not.
Shortcuts you're going to discover.
Oh, that is hilarious. Someone had fun with that one. My man just smooth criminal that darkspawn with some lightning. That is hilarious. I love that.
You're really going to have a lot more flexibility in how you navigate between your
that ability is cool. I like that one.
Well, I think something really interesting too about the way that our team has built these spaces.
Oh, is that Balara's ability?
Quests.
Which one did they use
I think
just now?
something really interesting.
Blizzard.
Interesting too about the way that our team has built these spaces.
That is cool. That is cool.
There's the idea of each space has its own story.
Okay,
to tell,
that was something that I was a little bit like, kind of wanting to see some more of. In some of the other footage, some people said like, oh, it doesn't feel like your companions fight alongside you. Kind of feels like you're alone, isolated.
Interesting too.
But I was hoping in more gameplay, I was hoping you get to see your companions in the thick of battle with you often. I wanted to see that often. I want to feel like I'm fighting alongside them.
And side quests being narratively
sorry.
Has built these spaces is there's the idea of each space has its own story to tell, and while those quests, we talked earlier about those quests and side quests being
you're gonna get rocked.
Narratively relevant, they also contribute to a more of a
this player
story about the space itself.
Like I said, they're not doing the best with the camera.
So in the case of
I'm hoping it's just a them thing and not the game thing.
Surrounded by blight, and you're kind of getting to the center of what exactly is going on in Hossberg and Lavendel, and these quests that you do and the content Corinne is currently engaged in helps to tell that story.
Interesting. Like, come on, bro.
All right. We can see our companions are up here attacking
this person doesn't
on their own. Let's give them a quick hand.
Okay, Arcane Mark, that's interesting. That has to be part of the build or like an item specifically, because they didn't do any kind of special attack. It doesn't look like they use an ability specifically. So, okay, yeah, it's probably part of their build or something. That is so cool. Yo, that was a nice little combo. And then switch. That was nice.
I love positional gameplay, making use of the environment to
I agree.
advantage.
I want more of that. I love that in Baldur's Gate 3. I want the environment to matter in your fights. It's something that wasn't really implemented really at all, or sparingly, or not very well in some of the other Dragon Age games. I want that to matter here.
That you could do a takedown move. So
getting your environment involved in combat is really fun. Being able to shoot down chandeliers and make them fall on people, being able to explode barrels on your enemy. It's fun. I like it. I want more.
Takedown move, so it's kind of a finishing move.
You can. Now, in this particular build, I'm really focused on using necromantic energies to siphon life force.
Okay, lifesteal build.
But if I, for instance, wanted to go the stagger route, I could go a full takedown build if I like. That's
cool.
Really,
just doing back-to-back takedowns is dope.
Powerful, heavy-hitting style of gameplay.
All right. So you'll notice Davern is waiting for us. So let's go see what he has to say.
How much we got left? Oh, okay, so got a fair bit.
The sun flies in.
Oh, he's nervous. Poor baby.
Bad day at the cauldron.
What could do that?
I will say, I wasn't a big fan. In Origins, I like elves. I like elves in Dragon Age. In Origins, I played an elf. In 2, you can't play an elf. But in Inquisition, I didn't play an elf because I didn't like how every male elf that you made had to be like super skinny and petite. Davern's build, I don't mind. I don't mind that they're shorter. Davern's build, I don't mind at all. If I can make an elf that is of his build, I'll be really happy. I did not like how male elves, all of them, looked in Inquisition. I'm saying, hey, twink elves are cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I didn't like that my elf had to be of that super slender build.
Hiding inside.
So something tore through the gate. That's probably not great. Looks like we should probably get moving.
We won't find out standing around here.
Yeah, like the animations on this main character doesn't look bad in this instance. Again, I'm not a fan of this particular look of a Qunari. Hopefully not all Qunari look like this, but
probably not great.
Here looks fine, the animation.
Looks like we should probably get moving.
We won't find out standing around here.
Be ready for anything.
Son, he knows he's adorable too. The devs went out of their way to make him as cute as they possibly could.
Because we don't have Davin in our party, he's going to move ahead and wait for us while we bring...
Oh, because we don't have him in the party. So if you bring them with you for the mission, they're there with you. But if you don't, okay.
And Harding along to clear a path for ourselves to find
Good
Davin
boy,
where
Hassan.
he is.
Can you talk a little bit about how Nev and Harding sort of synergized during the combat?
Yeah, so Nev and Harding, Nev is a mage, Harding is a rogue, and each of the classes...
Did those things fly down from the sky? What?
Yeah, so
what?
Nev and Harding, Nev is a mage, Harding is a
That's crazy.
Rogue,
okay.
And each of the classes, you can build a party entirely of one class if you want, but the idea is that the classes synergize and they can set up and detonate each other's abilities in a very interesting way. Now, because you have a lot of freedom in how you build your character...
Yeah, whoever's playing is just getting mollywopped, dude. They are standing in AoEs and just getting eviscerated.
You build your character, you can, again, as said, you can have...
You better drain some health, boy.
Party, all mage party, all warrior party, it still works.
Okay, the heal ability.
In this case, Nev and Harding...
Nice chunky damage.
Are very effective at setting up and detonating, in this case, as Corinne's going to show.
So...
Not sure how I feel about that. It looks like when you use an ability of an ally's, I thought you use an ability, that ability will go on cooldown, and then you can use more of their abilities, spells, talents, or what have you, right? That's how I thought it worked, but it looked like, because these two seem to match, it looks...
We're in danger here, and this is really what I love about the tactical layer of combat.
It looks like that these two are tied together, so you have to wait for this to come off cooldown to just use a ability. Not sure how I feel about it yet. I think I got to get the game in my hands and actually fight and do combat first, but...
Oh, we're in danger here.
Oh, yeah, you are. You're about to get mollywopped. Dude is charging up a monster of a hit on you right now.
If you get in that clutch situation where you've got this devastating incoming attack, great time to pause gameplay, weigh your options, and in this case, I'm going to go back to our combo here and see if I can just quickly get out of the way.
Sorry about that. Oh, okay, they managed to do it. Yeah, that camera work. It needs whoever's playing this. That camera work needs some work, my G. I'm imagining it might be the player, not the game itself.
Enemies, so I'm actually going to be leeching their health when I use my mage beam.
That's why they're using the beam. Okay, even if it means you can't use spells because it leeches health
throughout the area, and that's part of our philosophy on the combat encounters.
Okay.
If I don't destroy these blight boils, ghouls are going to continue to emerge. So I'm really focused on what targets do I take down first.
I like that. Sorry. I like that. So they said that there's these like boils in the ground and they spawn ghouls, dark spawn ghouls. And if you don't get rid of the boils, combat's essentially not going to end because you're going to have a bunch of ghouls to fight. I actually really like that. It's part of that adding environmentality. I get lack of a better word, not a real word, but add some of that environment stuff to combat, interacting with your environment in the middle of a fight. I like that because as a Dungeons and Dragons DM myself, that's the kind of encounter I would devise for my players. Yes, there's enemies you got to fight, but there's also stuff you have to do within the environment you're in. I would probably do something like that. I really think that's a cool thing to have in a combat, as long as it's not overdone. Yeah, and this is more of that cooldown thing. Like I said, 4 seconds here. These two icons seem to match. So yeah, you can't use any of Harding's abilities, it looks like, until this one comes off cooldown. We'll see how I feel about that. I was hoping that would not be the case, but we'll see. But yeah, that is a really cool thing for combat. I feel like, hey, you got to deal with those. And I wonder, it would be even better if you find it annoying and it's something you want to deal with. Maybe you can just do this pause menu, hover over that boil, and just have a companion targeted. That way you don't got to deal with it. I think that's really cool.
This enemy is a little bit weaker. I think I'm going to have my companions focus on them.
And you deal with the boils.
With this grenadier that's given me some problem.
Nice. That looks cool.
Yeah, I will say
a lot of the mage combat stuff looks really cool though. Staff heavy attack, the kind of blade beam from the dagger and orb combo, the general basic attack combo for the dagger and orb. I just love everything about the dagger and orb, really, to be honest. A lot of these abilities, like I said, I'm not fond of this kind of arrow ability, but this one right here where they kind of bring up some tainted ground, essentially this spirit bomb looks really, I think the mage combat looks really cool.
I'm going to say Corinne is much better at this game than I am, and
you say that?
Well, most of the time, yes, 100%. But
really, this person's much better than you?
Most of the time, yes, 100%. But each enemy, again, really leaning into.
Yeah, you get to see your allies a decent amount in combat.
Rip off pieces of themselves and throw them at you, which explode as blight.
I'm wondering if this person is playing on not like an easy mode, but like they have a setting in it where they cannot die, and that's going to be a setting in this game. I don't think that's a bad thing, so that people can enjoy the story. I don't care. I personally don't care. I'm going to play it on hard. But yeah, I wonder if that's the case because they've been taking hits at like 1 health and just not
really
dying.
Into the idea that the blight is organic and disgusting.
One thing that I'm noticing is that the combat encounters can get pretty intense.
Yeah, this person is getting this person is getting mollywopped, and the camera work is shoddy, dude.
Yes, and
get your other thumbstick together,
earlier,
friend.
This is well into the game, so combat counters have really ramped up. And it really shows the importance of positioning, using your companions wisely.
Someone said that the combats look a bit too crowded. Oh, okay, there it is.
Now this is interesting. We just went down.
Oh, there's a revive.
Companions to be able to come to our aid. So we're actually going to use a revive here. And Nev to the rescue.
It said 1 of 1, and I'm curious to see how you get those revives back. I don't mind the revives. Hear me out. Sorry, I'm burping a lot. Oh, sorry about that. Hopefully the mic isn't picking that up. But yeah, I don't mind the revives. Reason being is that I think I'm pretty much, except for Inquisition, in DA Origins and DA2, Spirit Healer was in both of those games, and you could revive party members mid-combat. Actually, multiple times in combat, if a combat lasted long enough, and the ability came off cooldown and you had the mana for it. So this is just once in combat reviving yourself. I don't see a problem with this, even on higher difficulties, because in higher difficulties in the other Dragon Age game, you'd be able to revive a party member or several mid-combat. I don't mind that.
And as Kurt mentioned, this is later in the game, and Hossberg itself is a...
I'm curious to see how you get those charges back, though.
Area, and the encounters...
Oh, and something I just noticed.
Is a... what I can...
interesting to see that all the abilities this person took for their build use that 1 mana charge. Essentially, that's what I'm calling them. I don't know if that's what it is. But yeah, 1 mana charge, use 2 mana charges, essentially. Meaning that all their abilities use the same amount. And at a time like this where they only have 1 charge, they can't really do anything spell-wise. That's interesting to see. Obviously, I'm assuming there's going to be spells and abilities you can take that use less mana, but they don't do as much, or maybe some they even have 3, maybe even 4 charges required to use for those spells. I want to play with that a lot. But dude, I can't wait to craft my perfect spell blade, perfect for me spell. But I really want to get into this combat and spell system and skill system.
And the encounter's a little bit more challenging. It's a more dangerous space. This shows up.
There you go, Michael. Do it again, Michael.
It's a little bit more challenging. It's a more dangerous space. This shows up in the encounter, but it also shows up in the visuals, the storytelling here. This is a place that you don't want to be. You don't want to be in Hossberg. It is full of darkspawn, full of blight, and generally not
that statue, that Grave Warden statue.
Well, we'll be able to explore more of the Cauldron.
Oh, that's
Dragon
it?
Age: The Veilguard comes out on October 31st. In the meantime, we are going to be continuing on with our IGN First coverage of Dragon Age for the rest of September.
So we'll get more?
And for everything that's great about games and RPGs, keep it locked.
Okay, let me mute and talk a little bit. This video is already long as hell. My bad. 53 minutes. Sorry, 53 minutes of counting. My bad, y'all. I hope y'all like long form content. Hey, but yeah, how I'm feeling about all this, right? This looks dope to me. All of this is looking really good. I will admit it didn't look as good as it could have for a few reasons. I'm not trying to bully this person. Again, they just didn't seem the best at playing this game, fighting in combat, right? They didn't seem the best at it because they were taking tons of hits that looked like they could have been avoided. Even in combat just now, I want to see that combat wheel. Okay, yeah, right here. I didn't even really notice it too many times in combat. One, I don't think they used their rune once. I could be tripping though. Maybe they did, because right now it says unavailable. Maybe they did use their rune. I don't know, but it didn't seem like they used it. But in general, I didn't see too many times where they were using companion abilities all the time, like using them as soon as they were off cooldown and stuff like that. I didn't see too much of that. So the gameplay, in my opinion, didn't look as good as it could have, but maybe that was intentional. Maybe they wanted to be slow and methodical to show off, keep the gameplay going, to show off each of these individual things, right? That's one thing else I want to say too. But maybe they wanted things to be slow and methodical to show off each individual aspect, right? They wanted to show off the basic attacks of the staff and the charge attack of the staff, and then the basic attack combo of the orb and knife, and then the charge attack of the orb and knife, and that kind of blade beam thing. And then they wanted to show off each ability. And if you're doing if you're doing Neb's ice ability at the same time you're doing your spirit bomb, you're probably not gonna be able to see the spirit bomb all that well, right? Maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know. And also I'll notice Harding's stuff doesn't seem too crazy and impactful. You know, she kind of just seems to be shooting arrows. Like, her abilities that she uses don't seem like the most impactful and chunky. But back to what I was saying, what I saw here looked cool. It makes you want to play a mage. It makes you want to play the game. Some things didn't look as good as they could have. I'll agree, some of the animation stuff looked whack. That's something that people were warning about on Twitter. Some of the animation stuff didn't look the best, particularly for the main character and side characters. I'll say the companion, when you're talking to Davern, he animated and looked fine. He looked great. I think Davern is an awesome character design. I think he looks really dope, and even in the animation and the cutscenes here, Hassan is cute as hell. Like, come on. And of course, majority of animation budget is going to Hassan, okay? Not Hassan, okay? Love the way that Baby Griffin looked, but I will say that some of the animation didn't look the best. I imagine if I notice it, and I try to give some grace to game developers, right? I know it's hard to make games. If I noticed it, and I'm one of the people that gives grace, I know several of this game's detractors, and even people that love this game and want it to succeed, also noticed it and pointed it out. And with the few months until release, I'm hoping it's something they notice. It isn't Mass Effect Andromeda levels. Not at all. Not even a little bit, right? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. It isn't Mass Effect Andromeda levels at all. I can say that confidently. But one thing I will say is that it could be better. There are times where the main character is talking and they look completely fine. Just more of the animation should look like that. And then perfect. This guy here, he didn't look all that great when you interacted with him. Yeah, he didn't look great. It's not the worst, like I said. It's not. I don't know why to me this right here feels super leftover. I don't know. Currency is normal to have, obviously in an RPG, but this 2 currency thing just feels super live service leftover-ish. But yeah, some of the side characters didn't animate the best, and I'm hoping that's improved upon by the time the game actually gets here. It's not gonna be the worst thing in the world because, like I said, it doesn't look as bad as something like Andromeda did. Andromeda looked awful. Everyone's eyes look dead in that game, whereas yeah, there's some characters where their eyes look dead here, but it isn't everyone. In general, the character models look a bit better. I like the stylized appearance of things. I like how it all looks. I like the RPG elements. I like how they went in on some of the build stuff. This all looks really dope to me. And just now I saw, yeah, so you can buy an orb separately. So you don't have, it isn't like orb and daggers are a combo, like a set combo. A dagger can do one thing and an orb can do another. I wonder if a dagger can do one type of elemental damage and the orb can do another. That'd be really cool if that's the case. But yeah, I like what I saw with this. This did definitely increase my hype for the game. But this wasn't the best piece of media, pre-release media that they've shown us, right? I definitely think the release date trailer and the warrior footage was a bit better than this. The fact that this is Mage gameplay did a lot of the heavy lifting. Let me see. I'm trying to get back to more fighting. The fact that this is Mage gameplay did a lot of heavy lifting for me. I wanted to see Mage for a while now, so I'm glad to have gotten to see it. But I think that the warrior gameplay was presented better a bit, but this still increased my hype. But this wasn't as good for me in terms of making me more excited for the game as, let's say, the release date trailer, right? But in general, this was solid. they said they're continuing their IGN first coverage throughout the month of September. I'm hyped to see that, right? And I don't know if this is going to be my first hour-long video on this channel. But hey, we reached an hour. I said everything I wanted to say, man. And in general, I'm mad excited and hopeful for this game. Cautiously, but still hopeful. Whereas before I was cautiously optimistic, but overall not too excited for this game. They've shown me that they have made plenty of good decisions with regard to it. I mean, having your dang hub world be in the Fade is such a cool touch. Some of the companions look amazing. I'm so interested to get to know some of them. The story is legit interesting. We got a potential double blind on our hands. Like, a lot of stuff they've made good decisions on. And of course, backpedaling on this potentially having to have been a live service thing. I know what they were going to do. With it being the Veilguard, they were going to make all of us as player characters all the Veilguard, and we were all going to be in this live service game together to stop the Evanursi's elven gods together as a collective. Thank goodness they backpedaled on that and just made a single player game. And in addition to some other stuff, like I said, they showed off that they've made a lot of good decisions with this game. There's some decisions I'm not happy with, but many more that I am, and I hope that let's say follow through. I hope that this game just has impact and just races across the finish line. I hope that some of the decisions I like about this game and that being the case, I hope that's the case all the way through. I want this game to be good. I don't want it to fail. It might. This is current age BioWare we're talking about. Anthem and Andromeda were stinkers. Great games at their core, you know, with the gameplay and some other stuff, but they had undeniable several flaws that ruined them. This is that same BioWare. I'm hoping, though, it's a BioWare that learned from the mistakes of those games. A lot of the choices they're making here makes me confident. I feel like they did, but I'm going to reserve judgment until this game comes out. But for now, my hype is intact. That animation, that face looks awful. My hype is intact. I'm more excited for this game after seeing this than I was before, and we'll see how this all turns out. Mage gameplay looks solid, reaffirms my belief that Mage is always the best class in Dragon Age games, and just in general, I don't have to tell you, Mage for the win, all right? Mage for the win, I don't have to tell you. But hey, thank you guys so much for sticking around for my hour-long video. That's going to do it for this one. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this gameplay. What you thought about it overall. What from this 22-minute clip has you most excited for this upcoming Dragon Age game? And as always, I will catch you on the next one. Y'all be safe. Take care of yourselves. Be easy.